It's Lindsay here with Storybook Family Farm. Over the last 5 years, we have raised a tremendous amount of meat on our homestead. And one of the biggest meat animals that we've raised, not biggest in size, but the most amount of meat that we've raised actually is from the rabbits. Rabbits are something that they were our second homestead animal that we started with. And we actually started raising them while we still lived in town. The town that we lived in, we were not supposed to have any sort of livestock, but nice thing is with rabbits, most towns, if they have any rules or ordinances against that, or if you live in an HOA, a lot of places consider rabbits as pets and not actually livestock. So you can sort of weasel your way through different things. Kind of like how quail are considered exotic birds, so you don't have to, a lot of times, register them as pets or anything like that. You can raise them in your apartment or whatnot because, it's different. I don't know. The laws are weird. Thank goodness that everybody makes really, really good laws for a lot of really important stuff. Anyways, so one of the nice things with the rabbits that I really liked is how quiet they are. They made it so that way in town we could raise hundreds of pounds of meat every single year without any of our neighbors even knowing. It was very nice to just be able to have everything sort of tucked away in the garage, that it made it so that way we felt really secure with ourselves because we suddenly had a very regenerative way to grow a lot of our own meat, but it didn't cost a lot. As you could imagine, when living in town, we were not able to use rabbit tractors like we do now because we were trying to, not let everybody and their brother know what we were doing. Plus, most of our yard was taken up with garden space, so there really wouldn't have been room, and, we didn't want to make things look even more awkward than they already did, having gardens everywhere, and, things were crazy. 2020 was a fun year. So was 21. But anyways, so how I had it set up in the garage was I actually used this big long cage here. This has 3 bays in it for the rabbits. Originally we had our breeding buck over here, and then we had 2 does, which are female rabbits, in these cages here. So it made it very easy to just move them over to the male's cage so that way they could breed, and then you could just put them back. Then once the rabbits were grown up, they were weaned off at about 5 or 6 weeks old. We then would transfer the baby rabbits, which are called kits, into this other cage over here, so then that way they could grow out in this cage here. Since moving, we've changed things around a lot. So we still, in the wintertime, currently, right now, I don't have enough tractors built to house all of the adults because we've been working on changing things around with breeders, which that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day when it's way warmer outside. But so originally we then would grow them out in this cage here, and then we would process them all in our garage just using a, it's like a BB, it's a pellet gun. That's what it is. I was like, crap, where's my words? Stinking cold stole them all. But so that's how we did that. What we did with the manure and things of that nature, we didn't let them just mess all over the barn. Well, actually, it was a garage, all over the garage floor. I built a bin sort of a structure underneath of here that was about knee high, and then I lined it with plastic. So then that way, as they peed and pooped, the manure and all of that stuff would actually drop down into the bin. I did try for a while to raise worms in there too, but that just became way too complicated to try to do. But so that went all into the bin, and then when it became time to empty that out, we would just take it out of buckets, take it out of there, put it into buckets, and then spread it on our garden, which made it so that way our garden, even though it was tiny, it actually grew a tremendous amount of food because, there was tons and tons and tons of really high quality fertilizer that was being put on there again and again and again. And then the little bits of hay and grass pieces and things of that nature that also are inevitably in that became a really nice quality of mulch. That's how I do all of my garden beds now, is use a mixture of the rabbit manure and the spent hay that they create, and also mixing that with all of the goat manure and the spent hay that they create as well, which the goats are they have pretty much the same quality of manure. So now we're basically a manure farm. But so how we raise the rabbits now, because we do have more land, we do have the availability to have them outside, obviously, is we actually put them in rabbit tractors, which are very similar to chicken tractors. However, I put like wire mesh, which is the same type of flooring that are in those cages there. I put wire mesh down at the bottom, so that way the rabbits can't dig out. Rabbits like to dig, so it's very important to make sure that you put a bottom on the tractors. Now, I've done several different designs on them. I have not come up with a perfect size or a perfect design this springtime, or if it warms up at all this winter. I'm planning on making several more tractors because eventually we would like to be able to basically use those high cages as only wintertime cages for the rabbits, because we don't really care for having the tractors on the ground like this in the wintertime, which granted they are up on top of cinder blocks, but as you guys can see, there is quite a bit of manure and things of that nature under there. It makes it very difficult to clean out because of how low they are, and it also kind of hurts your back to bend over and take care of them in the wintertime. But normally they are spread all over the yard, and they get moved in the tractors twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. So that way they're getting fresh grass, they're fertilizing the land, and then also, we don't have a big bunch of manure piles all over the place. But like I said, as it's wintertime, we don't really want them on the ground because then their feet get cold, it's frozen, and it just makes a big mess. But so that is our setup for the rabbits. If you guys have any questions about this, please leave it in the comment section. If you'd like me to go more in depth on rabbits, or have specific questions that you'd like me to touch on, please leave it in the comment section below so that way I can shoot another video answering specific questions. As it is right now, it is way too cold for me to go into like a rabbit tutorial for beginners. So if you're looking for something like that, I do know that Living Traditions Homestead has put out, I think it's a playlist of like raising rabbits for beginners. And then there's another channel called Sprag River Homestead. Nikki is somebody that from that channel, they don't post anymore, but she did a whole big thing of raising rabbits and also a bunch of information for breed characteristics, standards, things for 4-H, things of that nature. So if you wanted to get into more of the showing rabbits sort of aspect of it instead of just meat rabbits, there would be a good channel to also look at too. They have a lot of great information on rabbits. So does Living Traditions Homestead. So those are the channels that I would highly recommend you check out for rabbits. But if you're wanting more information from me about specifically how we do it, please let me know in the comment section below, because I'm always looking for new things that people want to learn from me specifically. So anyways, I am freezing. I've got to get these rabbit waters off of here because it's actually why I came back out. With how cold it is, the little knobs, the little nozzle things, they end up freezing. So when it's cold like this, I'm in and out several times about every other hour to replace waters and stuff. So that's the only downside to rabbits is their little water nozzles, they freeze pretty quickly. So, but anyways, that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys.